Blitzkrieg.com retweeted her and saying like this is sick, or like this is almost child abuse that they're having this little girl tweet this sort of stuff, allegedly, this girl. And the 7-year-old Syrian girl just blocked me. Damn, she's at Twitter. Like, that, to me, that exposed it as being operated by some sort of PMC, you know, private military contractor or company. That's not a 7-year-old girl in a war zone tweeting it. It seems like we're in this fog of war and propaganda and selling this war and Full Metal Jackass, you know, of course, these films, these patriotic films and patriotic tweets, and it's just strange.
Well, I reached out to Banna on Twitter. You know, she was trying to encourage the Americans to bomb the bad guys, the Syrian bad guys, you know. And I reached out to Banna asking her to use her 7-year-old wily ways to please ask folks to bomb Goldman Sachs, you know, like, let's get after the financial terrorists, Banna. And we've been direct messaging back and forth, and she wants to know about interest rate differentials, and I'm trying to give her a little education on the financial terrorism of Goldman Sachs. So hopefully by this time next week, she'll be pleading with whomever is out there willing to put an end to this global hypocrisy and cluster nonsense to, you know, send bombs into where they need to go.
So I also want to turn to another interesting tweet I saw from a professor called David M. Perry in Dublin, and he's a professor of medieval history. And to me, I thought this was really interesting, the fact that you and I know that we've been at war. The first Tomahawk missile, by the way, the first Tomahawk missile was dropped on Iraq in the first Gulf War. Many people, millennials of course won't remember this, but we bombed Iraq in 1990, 1991, driven by propaganda that Saddam Hussein had taken babies from incubators and smashed them and killed them and took the incubators for Iraq. So, you know, we have this nonstop, you know, drive to war to sell these weapons. And here's his tweet. I was telling students the other day that no one knew they were in the 100 Years' War. That's us, but with a changed information culture. So the change in information culture, of course, is Twitter, where Banna is tweeting to drop some bombs, but it's all like, now this war, this bomb, Libya, Syria, Yemen, Pakistan, Afghanistan. You know, we're always like going to another war, and it doesn't feel like, it feels like, oh, that was so long ago, that was another generation ago, the Iraq War. But it's a continuation of the same war. We've been in war for 30 years. History will look at this period as one of these sort of historic, you know, during the medieval times, the 100 Years' Wars and the 30 Years' Wars.
Well, yeah, it has to be a continuation. As I've been saying now for a while, there is this Ponzi scheme aspect to the economy where the problem that the U.S. banking system has is that it's run out of people to victimize, both internationally and domestically. We had, you know, Wells Fargo actually going into people's accounts and stealing their money, millions and millions of accounts being stolen from. And this Ponzi scheme needs new suckers. It needs new victims. There's only 3 countries out there that has independent banking system: Iran, Russia, China. So American, Wall Street, Trump, axis of weasels figure this is the last area for us to go into to keep this dollar hegemony afloat. If they push back, and I would imagine that the axis of China, Iran, and Russia would have the wherewithal to maybe say, you guys are overstepping your bounds a little bit, then the dollar, of course, is vulnerable. And if the dollar is vulnerable, if China and Russia do what I say that they should do, which is to come out and say, we're going to introduce a new regional currency partially backed by gold, the dollar collapses and the ability for America to fund its war machine collapses. That's the nonviolent way to put America back in a box.
But of course, the 30 Years' War